Now, how does Childline come into a picture in any case at all? Either a child calls us or an adult calls us. A child calls us and says, I am in trouble, or my friend is in trouble, and this is the issue. Or an adult calls and says, I find a child begging, or I find a child working in a restaurant, or I think this child is in a deep trouble, so come and help. This is how the interaction takes place. Now, under the Juvenile Justice Act, Childline Network has the authority to pick up a child from the location where it is in trouble and present the child to the Child Welfare Committee. The Child Welfare Committee is a statutory body that exists in every single district, and this is a statutory body under the Juvenile Justice Act. The CWC is the place where a child in need of care and protection is taken to. The Juvenile Justice Act defines what is the definition of a child in need of care and protection. It says these are the kind of children who can be defined as children in need of care and protection. When that happens, we have to present the child to the Child Welfare Committee. The Child Welfare Committee is a team of people which takes a decision, which listens to the case, has the power to hold a hearing, and then pass an order. The order is a judicial order. The order says the child can either be placed in temporary shelter or in a long-term shelter, or can be held by Childline or an NGO for some time until a home investigation has been completed. The Child Welfare Committee can do a home investigation on its own. Childline India to do a home investigation, which it often does, particularly when come from distant locations. Because of the Childline Network, the CWC will ask us to do the home investigation. If the home investigation reveals that the child's parents cannot support the child, or that if the child went back to the parent, the child would be trafficked again, or the parents might be involved in the trafficking. If any of these circumstances are there, then the report will recommend to the CWC that the child be placed in long-term care. Then the CWC will pass an order and the child will then be placed in a long-term shelter home. The long-term shelter home is a place which will nourish the child until 18 years of age and will look after the child's requirements for education, shelter, security and all other concerns. So that's the way the CWC functions. In the case of children who are in conflict with law, juveniles who are in conflict with law. Now, typically the situation in the case of juveniles is that juveniles have to be produced to a statutory body called the Juvenile Justice Board. This is a separate body altogether. The police come into play when there is a crime. Now, there could be a juvenile who is involved in a crime, in which case the police immediately come into play, or there could be a juvenile who is involved in an abuse or some other form of exploitation of another child, for example, or some other act which may not be criminal strictly, but may certainly be, for example, a riot. A juvenile could be involved in a riot. In these circumstances, there is a possibility of Childline India Foundation coming in, or Childline Network coming in and providing some legal support to the child, which we do in such cases. We provide legal advice and legal support to the child. Otherwise, the police will take the matter to the Juvenile Justice Board. The Juvenile Justice Board hears cases in the same way that any other court hears cases. So this is the distinction between CWC and Juvenile Justice Board, and this is the role of Childline India Foundation.